vineyards, because we could always do that afterwards. I'll tell you a little bit about life in the vineyards so you get a flavor for it. Because I think some of you are thinking, oh, this is pretty cool, and that looks like a good idea. There's people having fun and going to plant some vines. There were a couple things that came across my desk, and Rosie, you might want to pay attention to this. We had ABC training, alcohol beverage control. You know, the government that controls alcohol, and they gave us some training and they gave us a memo. And I'm going to read from the memo. It says, selling, serving, or allowing alcohol to be sold to a person under 21 or to an intoxicated person, is a misdemeanor offense and can result in a minimum $1,000 fine or imprisonment. And we all know that, and we don't want to serve alcohol to minors. It goes on to say that a person serving alcohol, that is a winemaker who's serving alcohol at a tasting room, it is illegal for a person serving alcohol to consume alcoholic beverages while working. And it's a misdemeanor and can result in a minimum $1,000 fine and or jail time.
Hopefully they don't.
I had the good sense not to ask a follow-up question to the officer of the ABC at that time, but for the record, since this is on film, I want you to know that whenever I'm working in the tasting room, I do not inhale. I do not inhale. So, then, after this wine tasting event the other day, I came home and I looked at my mail, and this was in it. And I don't know if you can see that. It's actually a picture of an attractive, looking leaf in the fall and showing some autumn colors. I said, boy, that looks just like the leaves on my vines. That's interesting. And this is a newsletter from the kind of the wine bureau in California. And they're saying, here's the headline: out of nowhere comes red blotch. So this red blotch is a disease. And that looks like my vines. And it just goes to tell you that in this farming business, there's always something. So people, want to know, well, why did you want to get into winemaking? And actually, it was never my thing. And if you ask my wife, she would tell you, well, it's her dream. And that was always her idea. And okay, so that's her idea. And so we've basically been members of Blue-Merle Winery since it started, more than 10 years ago. And from time to time, actually about 9 years ago, they were offering a course in how to make wine. And I said to my wife, well, let's go. You've always wanted to learn how to make wine. Let's go. So we came, and the course was taught by a gentleman named Lum Eisenman, and we thought, oh, this looks like we could do this. And one of the things that the teacher advises, he said, well, when you make wine, make a big batch. It's easier to work with, it's less likely to spoil. Don't make a small batch, just get a big batch. Okay, so we called up this grower in Temecula. I said, okay, I want to buy some grapes. And we ended up buying half a ton of grapes. And we brought these back to our garage. And, from that, then what are we doing? And so we really had no idea. But through the whole process and everything, we found out that making 1 barrel of wine, it's actually a lot of fun. And it's really not that much work. A couple of days, during the year, weekend here or there. It's just not a big deal. But making 10 barrels of wine, it's a lot. And it's a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun. It's like my punishment from God for all of the sins that I've committed in 54 years and being married for more than 25 years. And it's the cross that I bear. And my poor wife, it was her dream, to have this dream. And in her dream, she's wearing a white dress. And she has a son on her. And she's kind of walking, through the vineyard. And below her, all the people are working. And she's overseeing. And in her dream, she never thought for a minute that she'd be that person working. And that's her life. And she never thought about that. And it's hard. I mean, and that's all. She's out there every day. And Karen talked about netting the vines. Well, I remember about a year ago at this time, it was August and we had to net these vines. And it was getting hot. It was 100 degrees. And you can see, some of the pictures out there. And one of the things I guess I've learned in life is kind of what these Europeans do, right? You get up early in the morning, work when it's cool out. In the middle of the day, it's 100 degrees. It's time to come inside, have lunch, drink a little wine that we've been making, and have a siesta, and get up again at 4 or 5 o'clock, go back out to work. And so I've got some common sense, and it's midday, and I head inside. And I said to my wife, come on, why don't you come on inside? And she said, no, you go ahead. I want to stay out here. I want to finish. Well, in the vineyard work, the work is never finished. There's always something. I said, come on, it's okay. We can get it done. She says, no, it's my vineyard. It's my dream. I'll come in when I want to. You go ahead. You go rest. I'm going to finish. This is my vineyard. So what can I do about this woman? And so I go back inside, and I'm actually really concerned about her because she just had gotten out of the hospital a month before that. And I came home one day from work a month before that, and she wasn't feeling well. She'd been working outside. And she started gurgling, and she was unresponsive. Called 911. Paramedics came. They took her to the hospital and followed up. And I get to the hospital, and the paramedic says, his name's Joe. Says, your wife's heart stopped on the way in. But it's okay. We took care of her. And she's fine. And she just was kind of bounding out of the ambulance in the hospital. She's in there. Go find her. Okay. So I go in there, and I hear later what the story is. I mean, for 15 minutes, CPR. And, well, anyway, she's okay. And a week later, she gets out of the hospital, and we come home. And what's the first thing she does? She goes out in the field. She starts wandering. The lilies. And you just can't stop her from that. And what I realized is, like I think I mentioned before, I've been married like 26 years, right? And does anyone fight with their spouse? Yeah. Well, we do. And I realized the Lord just has to be loving this woman who's out there every single day among us. And I would say that this life in the vineyard, it's brought us closer together. And it's just really, it's quite cool. I think we need another one.
I'm going to pour the next one.
Good. So the first wine was probably one of the more bolder wines that we ever made. And the next one, Karen used this word, the European style. This is more of an European style. And you might have heard of something called a Meritage, which is a type of wine. It's fancy. It involves blending these wines together that are actually from the United States. And remember I mentioned we're the Blue-Merle winery, and we have this Blue-Merle Australian Shepherd. So this is our Merletage. And it came out. And so I hope it's easy to drink. It's a 2009 vintage. It's got some bottle age to it, so I hope you enjoy that. So on that day a year ago, we're out in the vineyard, and she wouldn't come in. I got a phone call from Fidel. Awesome. And Fidel, actually that's not his real name, I just call him. He's a guy who does some work for us. and a number of other vendors. And he told me, Craig, you need some help knitting? I'm coming over. Okay, come on over. So I go to tell my wife, I say, Fidel's gonna come over and help you knit. No, she's not. You're not letting him on here. He's no good. He steals our fruit. He does this. He injures the dog. And she does not like that guy. And you could just watch her and her blood pressure just going up. Another stroke again here in the video. So anyway, Fidel comes on over, and I have to deal with all this stuff. So he comes over, and we go and we see her. And it's, hey, Fidel, haven't seen you in a long time. How are you doing? And he said, Craig, I just got out of the hospital. I've been in the hospital. Really? What happened? My blood pressure, no good. What do you mean? What happened? Yeah, I had to go to the hospital. My blood pressure, no good. Oh my gosh, this what happened at the hospital? All right. I said, well, what happened? So he said, well, he explained to me that he stayed in the hospital. And my wife, who hates this guy, she said, well, what did you do? What did you take? Because she's been taking blood pressure medicine also, to make her blood pressure go down. It doesn't work. She said, yeah, I got this Aspirin or something like that, and my blood pressure came down, I'm fine. And you would think that there would be this moment of humanity between, I guess, hospital buddies there who find solace in the vines because the vines don't talk back. But he's her mortal enemy. And she never, stops talking about it. But for me, it was this moment, that maybe could bring these two people together. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up because I know the chief, he wants to talk. Are there any
chiefs do
about the wine or the vineyard? Yes.
So your first barrel that you did off that half ton of grapes, how was it?
It's good. And let me tell you how long it lasted. It lasted less than a year. Because 10% went to the church.
I'm going to do my usual.
Probably 20 to 30% we gave away to friends. And if you do the math, remember a barrel of wine, 25 cases times 12, 300 bottles, 365 days in a year, a bottle a day, less than a year is how long a barrel of wine lasts.
So half a ton of grapes makes one barrel?
That's about rough, more or less, the way that I make it. You get a little bit left over for topping, but more or less, half a ton. Yeah.
You own your own crushing equipment and all that, or do you bring that in?
Yeah, and we do have equipment as well, but a lot of this stuff, all of this stuff, the ones that are here tonight, we do a lot of things by hand. So when we press the wine, by pressing it by hand, we really control that process. We don't overpress. We can really kind of control the quality of our product, at least how we produce it. We can't control always what's in the vineyard. Some of that's beyond us. Any more quick questions?
Is that red stuff going to mess up your harvest this year, or what?
Oh, I don't think so, and it may be a nutrition problem. We need to research a little bit more. And we're all going to be around here later, and we'll answer all your questions. Thank you. Thanks, great.